This is Ron Kusin of the Spoon for Risk on the morning of September 9th. We are just making a commentary on this drop. When we ran our composite profile back into August, 2145 was a low value area, and the market has dropped right down to 44.75. We're going to show you how this figure, in fact, is manipulated. But the question is whether or not we are still moving down. And the answer to that, evidently, according to the premium, is yes. When we look at our lows here, even from our initial PT, if we extend this out to the low at 44.75, the premium is still considerably lower than any threshold that we could find, perhaps with the exception of right here. Right in here. Okay. But other than that, okay, there's every good reason to expect that this market will continue to come down. But there are a couple of very compelling bars which seem to imply that we could get one whale of a rally this afternoon. And that is based off of this bar right here and this bar right here. Both of them are naked bars. And this is implying a return to the price at the high here, which is at 57. And of course this isn't much lower than that, but it's at 53-ish. I think it was, yeah, 53.25. So we're expecting to go back there. I don't think we've got enough going for us right now, however, to get us there. I think we've got to get down and test that low before we really get enough buying to send us skyward. And the composite profiles on the the INDU seem to give us the biggest clue. We've dropped as low as 271, 272. We've got a nice low value area at 259. That's not that difficult to reach. Okay. And that's maybe a 1.5 lower than we've already been. Okay. On the ES, that is to say. So if we drop down to 270 to 259, that's just a little more than a 12-point move on the Dow, which translates into about a point and a half on the ES. And it doesn't necessarily mean that we have to drop it 1.5 below where we were. It all depends on when we get there. But if we got there simultaneously and started dropping lower than the 44.75 where we've been, it would probably take us to around 43.50, 43.25. So we've got a heads up on a potential rally to this afternoon, a pattern that we normally call a yellow day pattern, and that all depends upon when this low takes place. If the low goes into lunch and then we start to get the rally, then yeah, a yellow day pattern could emerge on the other hand, it could just be a very late morning low. But right now it seems to be just flirting back and forth, which is so. This is a very typical pattern. Very typical pattern. We see this a lot in the yellow day, and we'll come back and we'll test this. I would suggest that we probably will go a little lower, but we don't necessarily have to. A lot is going to depend upon where the INDU is at the time, so we're going to keep a real strong eye on that. But look for this pattern to form a great big V, like in Victor. And that could come, within the next hour, maybe hour and a half to 2 hours, even. And then the rally really moves. Let me see if I can find a good example of this same pattern in the historical records. We'll come back. Well, we're still looking for the yellow day pattern. We just dropped even further. And here again, the premium pretty low. Last bar. Now, you see that last bar? Last bar was considerably above our threshold level. So as it did that, real nice basis to presume a bounce right at the time that it hits a new low. Now over here, okay, when we hit 45, see where the premium was? It was still below that threshold line. And so we dropped even further, 44.50, and now we're above. That's when you execute. We're not there on the INDU yet. We're getting close. 66. So we've still got a little more room to go, in my opinion. But that move on the premium right here, that's what we look for. Now, in terms of these yellow day patterns, we haven't really had a lot of real good yellow day patterns, but we did find a few. Let's go here to the ninth of February. Just expand this out. All right, so you see how this low goes right into about 12:30. This is on a 30-minute chart, just to get the point. But this is classic. This is just really classic. Low down at 12:30ish, and then up she goes. Turns right around, and as you can see, this takes a good almost hour before it really begins to take off. But once it begins to take off, it really takes off. So this is one example. Here on the 29th of April, we have another example where we get this initial low into about 11 o'clock-ish. Keep in mind, These are 30-minute charts. And it rallies up probably to where the premium had indicated, then it comes back down. Now this is a late afternoon, relatively late afternoon yellow day pattern, which doesn't really complete itself until the morning of the following day. But we see the lowest of the lows here, and then the rally about an hour later really starts to take off, which is really late. And normally we get this high, higher than the opening bar, which was actually way up here. And that doesn't get hit until the morning of the following day. One more. Very similar in August. High right at the open, low goes into noon. About an hour later, boom, the rally begins. And we didn't quite make it. Okay, there was the high. Don't really know where the market was in the overnight. Don't have that plotted here. But this is the pattern, a V-shaped pattern. And so I think that's what we're going to be looking at here. Now we're just about hitting this low, so let's go and watch this real carefully. Watch for the bounce. 43.75 on the ES, 43.50 on the ES. We just hit this level at 18,250, 775, dropping a little bit lower. There's the support area. Now watch the premium. See where we're at on the premium? We ought to tick down, very likely tick down another quarter of a point, but here is not a bad time at all to be starting to get long. Okay, we tick down just a little bit more. Yeah, we want to start getting long in here. Or at least getting ready to get long. Because we've had a big drop here. We've had another big drop. Okay, we've got to get 42.50 has got to get tested. And what so often happens is you get some arbitrage traders that shoot the market up in situations just like this. This big bar down, everybody arbitrages this thing and says, okay, oh, that's got to be the low, and jumps right in and rallies this thing up. But getting in to a long trade in here doesn't, that's not bad. But the premium says this is not over. This is definitely not over. However, we've got to look at the YM here. Got to look at the YM. I didn't think we were going to drop quite this low, but we've got 18,155 on the radar, and how far down did we go? We're not confirming this. Let's we gotta confirm this. Yeah, 160. So 18,155. to 45. Again, there's two support areas in here, two low value areas. So now, having dropped below where we saw the INDU, the YM is now real close to its support level. So it looks like we've got a little bit more to go. We're not done yet. This is going to continue to drop. We just dropped into 42 again, and market has responded. We did not hit 155 on the YM as yet. Well, now as you can see, we are just dropping down below the 60 level. And 155 is the target. All right, so we just hit 18,155, and notice where the premium is. This is truly a good time to be thinking about getting long. Now you want to have a good tight stop on this because we could still get a nice drop even below this. But based upon where the support levels are, based on what we see in the premium right now, it's good that we go ahead and start that process of getting into this trade. It's a little early, I have to admit. It seems to be just a little bit early to be getting in here. However, and by early, I literally mean the clock. This is not normally the time for a low. It's early on the clock from that standpoint. But we're going to go ahead and try to take a long position here with a tight stop. And see if we can't get a nice bounce up off of this level. I am still dropping. Okay, now, given what we just saw happen on the premium, now we know we're not done with this. Okay, we've got to continue to test that level at 40.25. Possibly, we might see, the market drop another 1/4 of a point. So, if we're into a trade now, and we are, we just want to ease out of it. No point in holding this because the premium has just told us we're not ready yet. So, in spite of the fact that we're moving up, we're actually going to move out of that position. We didn't get stopped out, but we nevertheless wanted to obey premium and ease out of this position. And wait for another opportunity to get in. Still dropping. Okay, we're beginning to find some support now, yeah. We didn't actually ease completely out of that position. We're still in it. And actually, I'm now happy because we did not get out. We're still in. Good. Now we can move the stop to break even. Actually, I wouldn't move the stop to break even, not yet. Okay. All right, this is what we were expecting. And this is what we were expecting. Now we can't see the clock on our screen, so let's just readjust our screen here for a second. There we go. Yeah, this low, it's peculiar. This is the time of this low is just a little odd. But you can see the behavior of the premium is right on the money, right where we would expect it to be. And up we move. Now, if this is going to continue to move up, we've got to get above this green line, this threshold line. Premium's got to start spiking up above that in order to keep the rally going. It has not as yet done so. But that's what we would be looking for. So now, as long as we're not pushing above that, we've got to be cautious. We've got to be cautious because this is too easy for it to come right back down and we get nothing out of the trade. Or perhaps even get stopped out, which we're not going to allow ourselves to do here. So we've just got to give this a little bit of time in order for it to develop. So we'll make sure we don't lose anything on this trade. Okay. Now, if and we are in a trade, but I'll speak in hypothetical terms. because of this big spike down, now you have every reason to expect this market will get back to 41.25, if not lower. And in fact, I really would expect it to go lower. So with very little room to work with, it only makes sense to now bail on the trade with whatever we can get out of this, because this market's coming back down, and there's no point in even waiting for us to get stopped out, even with a 1-tick profit or a 2-tick profit. It's not worth it. Just get out of the trade, let it move down, and then try to re-enter. Okay, we'll come back in a little bit. All right, so once again, you see the drop in the premium here. $41.25 was that low bar on the premium, and we just dropped below that, and the premium is continuing to drop below that threshold line. So the circumstances, you do not want to be taking a long trade. If you're in a long trade, really your best option here is to ease out of this thing. Make what you can, but really holding it is that can be real risky, very risky. Now we would expect that maybe this would climb to where we see on the YM here to about 18,170-ish. 43 is about as far as we can expect this to go on the ES based upon the volume matrix, which we don't have on this particular screen right now. But this is real risky to be maintaining a long trade in here. So as you can see, we just dropped back to the low, 40.25, last bar, just above that level. YM is divergent. Okay, we've got a higher low there. And that can be deemed as positive so long as the premium's in agreement. So let's see if we can get a little bigger picture here. Okay. See how the premium has dropped here. And now the premium is beginning to get a little bit higher. All right, now these three bars, boom, here, 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 that's all down. Okay, so what you've really got to do is kind of draw a line from here to maybe here to see that this is beginning to get to that point where it's truly oversold, and again, going back into a long trade off of this low in here, this is beginning to make a little bit more sense. So we're going to go ahead and take a long position here, but again, got to be careful about it, because we're still fairly early. Again, a yellow day pattern, typical yellow day pattern, doesn't have a low at this time. It usually is into the noon hour, and we're not there yet. something else that we would normally like to see on the ES is what has actually emerged on the INX. See how our low value area, we just bounced off of the low value area here, sort of bounced off of it on the INDU. That's what we need to see happening on the YM. And it looks like that's not going to occur just yet. I mean, we could begin to rally up strongly and then come back down and bounce off of a higher level on the ES. But what we really want to see is this kind of a pattern where the low value area, in this case the magenta colored line, is actually under where below it. So that's really not too good. So by way of pattern, it would suggest that we'll move up, we'll bounce off of that, come back down, and then a little bit later on, like in that noon hour, this will get under it, hopefully, if we don't drop too much. And then, boom, the yellow day pattern has the potential to emerge. So if you get into a long trade in here, and we're long, I will let you know that we are long, things like this get to be really bothersome because we're so close. And that the following bar, yeah, it was above our threshold line here, but that concerns me that this thing can easily just drop again. And looking at the matrix, we're building quite a profile on the ES that looks really odd. I'm going to have to show this to you because this the typical bell-shaped curve that you would expect to see, and this is more of a bell-shaped curve. Nice, the lower volume, tailing off at the absolutely lowest price. That is not what you see. That's not what you see on the ES. So let's show that to you. Here's the here's the curve. All right, that just does not look good at all. No. This curve, right in here, that's typical. But this, no, that doesn't look good at all. No, it suggests to me that we're gonna come back down. Maybe down another point or two even. So, unfortunately, it's not looking too promising for this long trade right now. So, in the light of this, we actually reversed our position. We went short again. Not a lot, but I'm going to take profits at 39.5. Almost there. Thank you. No, come on back. Come on. You weren't there long enough for anything to happen. I wasn't one of those 100 people either. Oh my. Oh, come on. Ah, phooey. Yeah. We're not done yet. We're not done yet. All right, we'll come back in a minute. We may just have to dump what remains. And there we go. Once again, dropping even further. So we're glad we got a little short there. And we're now just watching the premium. So just looking at the premium right now. Move down is not over yet. So where is this going? Let's see if we can't find out. Well, just a quick look at this picture. We've got 3550. 3550 as a low value area. That's based upon the low pivot that takes us back to June 27th. And that volume generates a low value area at 3550. So, sounds to me like a nice nice place to anticipate an exit. And once again, we'll take a look at the premium to see if once we get there, whether that's likely a place to take a long trade, because we're still anticipating, and the timing is getting to be real close to where we would expect it to be in order for a yellow day pattern to emerge. That will be very interesting to see that happen live. So we'll keep watch and come back. $35.75, and the premium is still dropping. Now notice closely that last bar, lower the premium, is right above that line. Okay? That's what we expect. So actually, that may, again, that may have been it. We're right into this time frame that we have been talking about, 12 to 12:30, and that time frame, it becomes real possible for us to see a yellow day pattern emerge off of this. Okay, not yet. Now, what's interesting? If this is the low, and of course the premium says that it could be. Again, a typical yellow day pattern will come down with this price at 35.75. It'll go down to 30. It'll go to 21.36. Okay. Not go any further and start to really rally up. However, that having been said, the low value area is quite a ways from here. Quite a ways from here. So it's up at 41, and usually we expect it to be below. So it's not looking real promising right at the moment. But we're risking going long here. We've got a long trade in at 36.5, and we'll average into that position. If we drop a little bit lower, and then we'll ease out of that position for contracts that we don't really want to hold. But I'm of the opinion that this is going to turn out to be yellow. But by the same token, it could continue down all day long. Okay? It could continue down right into the close. But off of the support level that we see, we would anticipate a bounce, and this is right about the right time for that to occur. Now, what's going to show whether that is really going to take place is once we hit the low, we'll start to get some spikes up on the premium, possibly even to a program buy, and then that will really clarify where we're at in terms of this pattern. But right now, premiums drop below, so the low there was 35.75. That's the low of the day, and that premium bar says 35.75. We've got to get some support at that price. If not, we're going to drop even lower. And there you see evidence of it. We're still going lower. And I'm not going to hold this trade. I'm going to get out. I'm not feeling good about being long here. Okay, let's see what's going to happen here. We'll come back when we begin to really see something happen. We went back and just took a quick look at another little piece of data, and I see a little something different here, a little something that I'm sorry I wasn't paying as close attention as I should have, and as a result I'm trying to get into a long trade here actually. Here's why. This low on the premium, we look at this pivot here, and we're above the PTL at 856. Now, we were below those levels on the last pivot, but on this most recent pivot, we were right back there to 856. I did not see that, and as a result, I have gone ahead and taken a long trade. And what I will do is average into this if we drop below my entry price, and then I'll quickly get out of that position to the extent that I don't want to hold more contracts than I care to. Yeah. Gotta look at this very carefully. All right, that's where we were at 856, same as over here. Not true here, okay, as you can see, but true here. Now, if this is really going to take off, all right, let me show you where the premium is going to have to go. Let's see here. Okay, it would appear, just running some numbers here, that 741 is a reasonable target for the time being. Now, I think 738, if we manage to get above that, will be even a more predictable number. But this threshold, which was set from this high, okay, we're breaching that, and we're managing to continue to move up. So the most immediate threshold is right here, and once this rally really begins to get off the ground, we're going to have to push above 741, and then ultimately this yellow line here that happens to be our PT, we're probably going to need to go above that too. But just in case you've already forgotten, this big spike here, premium up to 705, all right, which happened to be the same as this PT here, 705. Wow, that is what is telling us, because these are naked bars, that this is quite possibly a yellow day pattern. Right, drop below that level, and as you can see, a corresponding drop down in the ES. So we've got to get above that level for sure. Okay. Let's see what came of that. We're still going down. And now we've passed, just passed the 1230 mark. Okay, I think we can honestly say that there is little chance that we are going to be getting a rally at this point in time. Everything is just indicating that we are continuing to drop. Premium is continuing to drop, and so we're going to just let this thing ride. We're going to search for where this low is, and we'll be back. All right. Now, save that we go all the way down to 2122.75. This level right in here at 31.75, all the way into, let's see if we can get it to show up. Yeah, 30.25. That low area of volume, all right, that low area of volume could find some resistance, all right. If you've listened to my videos for a while, you know that sometimes we don't like to speak about support. We just speak of resistance. Resistance in this case to going down. No more sellers, and the buying begins. So we've just expanded this a little bit further so you can see it. And it just depends. We've got to watch the premium as we get into this range. It's a 1.5 point range above 30.25. Now, if it drops below that, it'll continue to drop, I believe, and we could very well see the 2122.75 low value area being hit. So no longer of the opinion here that this is going to rally back today. Although it could, it would be a very late yellow day pattern. So let's go back to the premium. Dipped right into that, just right into it, 31.50, and you saw what happened. Market began to take off. That's interesting. Now, what would suggest that this may incur a significant bounce is what happens to the premium. All right. Now, I think we'll still test that level. Premium says we will. $31.25 just got hit. There's some buying going on down here. No. Premium is still down. But on that last, let's make sure we're, no, we're still below. But you see where the premium just went? Here and here, above that threshold. Okay. My estimation, it's really got to get above 741 in order for us to really expect this market to take off. So we've taken a long position. We're in a long trade, but I'm not real confident about it. I'm still holding on. I'm secretly holding on to the idea that this is going to rally. That's probably not wise. But when I saw this area in here as being a target area, I'm thinking, I've seen it happen so many times that we get a bounce off of something like this, where the it's below the technical low value area, and it's an area of strategically low value, where nobody wants to go there, and instead you get some resistance to going down, and you start getting buyers jumping in. So that's why we went long. I mean, I could be absolutely wrong, and I would anticipate being wrong if we drop below 30.25, but we haven't done that yet. So that will be my my key to giving up on any kind of a long trade here. Okay, we've got a naked bar up there, 33. Give it a few minutes. Okay, we're back to 33 here. Now, you see what's happened to the premium? Nothing. Nothing. Not good. If we don't get another spike on the premium, should the market go as high as 33.50, and if we didn't get a spike up on the premium at that point, I'd say, okay, here we go, 33.50. Just wait for it, because we've got a little delay on the formation of this bar. But there we have it. Okay, good, good. That's good. Okay. Now, for various reasons, we're going to have to conclude our narrative at this point. But this is what we would expect to see. If this is going to sustain a rally, right? It's going to sustain a rally That's what you've got to see happen with the premium. The premium's got to continue to go up, and eventually, you know, as we move even higher, it's going to have to go right back up there. We're going to have to get some programmed buying going on here to get this rally really taking off. I don't see that happening just yet. But this is the pattern. And failing this, you know, the market's going to turn right around and come back down. So we'll recap at the end of the day just to discuss what happened. The real key at the moment is going to be right around 36.25, 36.50. I say that because looking back at our profiles here, just a second here. Okay, 36.75. That's a good place to expect a bounce in the opposite direction. But if we get some real buying going on, yeah, we can push it up all the way to 48.75, where this line is at the moment. But the pattern does not suggest that. Unfortunately, the pattern says this is a red day down, red day. Okay. Highs were practically the first thing in the morning, and it's been down all day. And once you get past about 12:30, the probability of the yellow day pattern emerging is pretty small, but I think we will get that rally back up. The premium says so. It's just a question of when. So I don't think it'll be today. But we just decided to take a long trade just to get a little bit out of this bounce. And we are having to call it a day as far as our commentary, and we'll be back with a recap later on. I'm RSKsys Intl for Risk. This is RSKsys Intl resuming our video. We had talked about the 2122 low value area, and we've gone down to 24.25, bouncing again. Let's just take a look at the premium without any kind of, as they say, optimization. You can see how the premium is way below these threshold levels. Way below these threshold levels. So sometimes what we do, we reestablish those levels later on. I haven't even attempted to do that as of yet, but I'm going to do so now just to see what it shows us. Okay. And I think what we're going to do, let's just see here. Just to get a fair, yeah, right in here. We'll reset this to 1 o'clock. I'll show you how that works. Okay, so that puts the PT down at 893. So when we came down to this low Actually, very fortunately, we see that the lows of the premium are moving up. Just eyeball this. This low, this low, this low. Okay. See how the lows of the premium are moving up. Now we were below that level right there, but then at this pivot, it does what we call this an LT, which is the new low on the premium at the time of the pivot, and puts us up at 857. So now if that's accurate, right? If this is the threshold level that we should be working with, well then we've got to be above that level when we hit the low. And when we hit this low, okay, the low right there, we were above that level. Right there, okay? However, we're not low enough to really find that support level that we just looked at on the ES. So it would seem to me that we still have a little ways down to go. And we may, oftentimes at the close of the day, this thing will just immediately tank right down there. So it looks like we're heading down in that direction now. But, well, of course, these levels are not quite correct as far as the upside is concerned. However, let's just see this. That PT, interesting. Way below that level right there. Huh. So we've got a little heads up here. We should test that price up here at 30. So we might be able to get a final bounce in here. Let's just let's see if we drop down there. Again, that level 2275. It's right there. We're a point away. Less than a point now. So you know where the level is. Let's just see what happens. Watch the premium very carefully now. And premium is moving up. We're one tick away and we're about to hit it right now. We just did. Went down to 2250. $22.25. Still a little bit below our threshold level there. So it made it all the way down there. This has been a really big, big drop today. 21. All right, and the closing bell just about to hit here. So our final pop up on the premium is taking us back up to the 2150 area, I would presume. We're going down one more time. We'll have to. We've got some divergence on the ES. A lot of profit taking at this point in terms of the shorts. A lot of volume in here. So reasonably, you could expect that the market is pulling their profits for the weekend on this short, and so we may be getting a little buying popping into the situation in the last 15 minutes or so. Very interesting day. This is a classic red day down. We were anticipating the possibility of it being a yellow day. Didn't happen. Red days, very common. Actually, yellow days much less frequent. And the pattern was classic red day down. $19.50, $19.25, $19. Wow. She kept on dropping. So we'd have to move over just so you can see this. There we have the ES at present. Continuing to drop. And the YM dropped right through the 18,000 mark, right through it. So let's go back. Let's just revisit some of our composite numbers. This again was our composite number. It's about to come up. Let's bring up the ES composite numbers. Okay, interesting. Down there at 1825, we had another upper value area. That's pretty interesting. Now, you remember how we talked about if we moved through this area of low volume and kept on going, this thing is going to drop. That is precisely what it did. And then we've got this other 21.1825 number, which obviously got hit and is being hit as we speak. Now, where did that come from? This came off the low pivot in February the 11th. Okay. Now we keep track of all of these major pivots because they're the basis for running our composites. And here's all these major pivots, and this just takes us back to July 2010, major pivots. But that area takes us back here. Okay. As a matter of fact, let's just eliminate this line so you can see that more clearly. Actually, it's not. We need to look at the June 27th number actually. Okay, let me go back here. This was the 211 pivot, but I wanted to see the 627 area. So what we have on the screen, that 218 level was based on this low. And so I'm going to guess that this is what we come up with based on the June number. Yeah, that's the June number. Okay, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Now let's take a look at the YM. Now I hit a big number on the YM at 987. We dropped as low as 969 on the YM. Interesting. Let's go to the IMDU. We have a big number on the IMDU at 18,107. We drop below that. Let's look at this more carefully. We've got an even bigger number at 18,069. And we went to 85, which is a very achievable number into next week. Let's look at the INX. Okay, big number on the INX, 21.25. We dropped to 21.27. Okay, there you have it. Looks like we're going to be heading down. We're not done yet. So that's our review. Let's take a look at the IB here. See the IB calculation. Wow. How many standard deviations is that? I really do not know. Wow. Quite the drop. It's almost 400 points on the Dow today. Big drop to be sure. Okay. So that's where we stand, and we'll be talking more about this next week. We do expect a nice rally. The premium did imply that we would be climbing back to the highs of today. It just may take us into Monday or maybe even into Tuesday before that happens. We'll just have to see how the markets open on Sunday afternoon. That's our video for today. Rod Kusinan, Spooman for Risk.